Are you ready to turn your vision into impact? In this video, I'm going to give you a really quick tour of your WordPress dashboard and just show you the essential things that you should have a look at or change straight away just to get your site up and running smoothly. So let's get started. So once you've logged into WordPress, this is the dashboard that you will see. This is where you can manage all aspects of your website, and it's basically your control center. So on the left-hand side, you will see the main menu with the different options that you can go through. Here you can create posts, pages, view your site settings, and much more. It might look a little bit overwhelming at first, but don't worry, I'm going to walk you through the essentials. And as you go through various lessons, you'll be learning all the different elements to WordPress that you need to know. First, we're going to look at the general settings. So we're going to head on over to the settings tab on the left-hand side. I'm going to hover my mouse over this. I don't need to click on it just yet, but I'm going to come across here and click on the general tab. So this is where we're going to set the basic information for your site. The first thing you're going to want to do is change the site title and tagline to make sure that they're in line with your business. These are going to be very important because they're going to show up in search engines and you want them to be accurate. So I'm going to leave that as Michelle's site, and down here we might just put from vision to impact. That's better. At this point, you can choose a site icon if you would like to. It's a good idea to do that. It says here that it wants it to be 512 by 512 pixels. So basically you want a square image of your logo, and I highly recommend that you go with something very simple, just a simple graphic to use as your site icon. If you haven't got one of those yet, just skip this step. You can always come back to it later. To set the time zone, I'm going to scroll down here where it says time zone and click on the drop down, and we're going to just go through it, and you can search through all of the lists here to find your particular time zone. There's quite a few of them here. I'm going to set mine to Adelaide since that's where I'm living. Setting the time zone is actually a really important step, especially if you plan to schedule posts or set automatic content, because if you've got it set to the wrong time zone and then in the settings you pick a particular day and time, you might get a little bit confused or annoyed when it starts posting things at the wrong date and time, but what it's actually doing is setting it for the date and time as per the time zone that it's set up with here. Obviously, you can choose the date format and time format that suits you and which day of the week you'd like to set for the beginning of the week. And make sure that you click on Save Changes. That's a very important step. The next thing we're going to look at is checking your permalink setting. So that's adjusting how your URLs will look on your website. So to do that, we're going to go to the Settings and Permalinks option, which is just here, and click on this one. Now, when you come into this permalink setting page, sometimes the plain option will be selected by default, which is not the most user-friendly URL from an SEO perspective. If you're not sure what SEO is, it's search engine optimization, and it's really, really important for getting Google and the various search engines to rank your website higher. We want our URLs to be as user-friendly as possible for that reason as well. So the best one to choose is the post name. So that means whenever you create a page or a blog post, the name of the page or blog post will be here, and that's what will be used as in your URL. Make sure we click on the Save button. We're now going to go and look at the reading settings. Under Settings and click on Reading. This is where you'll be able to choose what your homepage will display by default. So WordPress shows by default, it's got here sample homepage. So that's a page that Elementor created when we set up the hosting account and WordPress. Later on, we'll be wanting to change that. Lastly, I want to talk about updates. So WordPress uses a combination of themes and plugins to keep things moving and to add all the functionality that you need to your website. We need to make sure that those are always kept up to date. WordPress will often notify you when these updates are available. For the plugins, the themes, and WordPress itself also needs updating from time to time. This is to ensure that your site is always running the latest version to keep it safe and secure and bug-free, essentially. So what we're going to do is have a quick look in the plugins section here. So you can click on the word plugins on the left-hand side, and you can see just by default, these are the plugins that were installed when we set up WordPress via the Elementor hosting platform. On the right hand side, you can see there are automatic updates. They are already turned on for these current plugins. If you wanted to, you could click on the disable and it will not automatically update that if that's what you want for some reason, but I'm going to leave them all to automatic updates for now. And that's a very basic quick tour of your WordPress dashboard. There's a lot more to it than that, but these are some of the essential settings that you should have a quick look at before you go any further. As you build your website, you'll dive deeper into various settings and options, but for now, just make sure these basic things are covered to ensure that everything's running smoothly. So I'll see you in the next video where we'll start building the site itself.